Hello, my name is Robbie, and for my leadership project, I chose my grandfather, or as you might know him, Dr. Rudy Rodriguez. The reason I chose him is because he has been a leader in the field of education since the 1960s. He has had many accomplishments, including being a great professor at both TWU and UNT for over 20 years. He was also a former member of the Denton ISD School Board and has been serving on countless community committees in Denton. The coolest thing, in my opinion, is that Denton ISD named a middle school after him and my grandmother. These are my artifacts. They are some of the awards that my grandfather has gotten. His doctorate, and this is cool. Here are some more of his awards. This is a picture of when he met Ted Kennedy, and this is the photo they used of him when he was on the Denton ISD School Board. This is his wall of awards. These are my two favorite. If you can tell, this is a letter from Barack Obama, and then this is a picture from when the middle school named after him was just being opened. Now that I've finished the project, here's a little bonus, an interview with the leader himself. Listen to his wise words. Here he is. This is my leader, Rudy Rodriguez. My question for you is, what would you tell my classmates to help them become a leader like you?
Well, Robbie, one of the beautiful opportunities that are available, through your schools is that you guys have some great counseling, not only in the secondary, but when you go up to high school. And I bet you, those counselors are going to share with you, or at least encourage you to consider as you look ahead to your career and what you want to do in life, is pretty much, will parallel, what drove me to make my decision about going to college and getting a degree and eventually teaching. So two things that you want to keep in mind. And this again is something that you'll hear time and time again. When you want a job, where you're going to feel a sense of satisfaction, right? Mm-hmm. That you feel happy about, find some joy in doing on a day-to-day basis. And then, of course, you want to be sure that you have a job that there's, pays you enough money so that, can support yourself and later, your family. And then, of course, the other very important thing, and you're going to find again, that this is something you're going to hear time and time again from your teachers, your counselors, and so on, is to give you a sense of purpose. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Give you a sense of purpose in life. And so those are the things that, drove me when I was trying to decide, what am I going to do, when I grow up? What am I going to do when I go to college? And what am I going to study as a career field? So again, I thought about the importance of really being happy at the job, having a strong sense of satisfaction. And then the other, of course, your big consideration is sense of purpose. I don't care if you're going to medicine, I don't care if you're going to the law field, or if you want to be an electrician or a cosmetologist. Important yet that the job have some meaning for you, that gives you a sense of purpose. And that is really what drove my decision early on. And about the time that I was going through my university professional studies, our country was undergoing a lot of change. You know, this is way, way back before you were born, Robbie. You know, you had people that were unhappy, you know, that with the social conditions of our country, and particularly, you know, people that were different from the majority, that had different skin color or spoke a language other than English. And these were people that felt that they were just not treated justly. They were not treated fairly. And they said, one of the things that we need to do is change the schools, you know, to make sure that we get and develop and create a system, you know, that's a bit more fair and sensitive and sympathetic, you know, to communities in our country that are different from the mainstream. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so that was the general environment of our country, you know, during the time that I was going through my college studies. So at that point, I decided, gee whiz, you know, where I think I could make the most difference? You know what that field was? Education. You know, I made that decision early on that I should go into education. And so I studied, you know, for the entire time that I was in college and got me a degree in public education, teaching in the schools of Texas. So guess what? I ended up working with children who were culturally different, who spoke a language other than English. And these were the kinds of children that, you know, were very much like me, that went pretty much like, you know, the same experience that I went through when I was in the public schools, because I spoke very little English when I was in the schools. And I had a lot of trouble in understanding the curriculum because it was all in English, and understanding the teachers. And so, you know, the public schools made a lot of adjustments after all those social conditions that we had across the country, demands by culturally different people, changed the schools, changed the society, changed the economic system in a way that is a little more sympathetic and responsive to our needs. So the schools were going through those changes, and I felt, what a time, you know, for me to come into education. You know, I think I could fix the system. Would you believe that? And so that gave me a sense of purpose. Yes. Not only did I, that this was a situation where I felt I was going to be happy in, where I was going to feel a strong sense of satisfaction, but also it gave me a sense of purpose. I don't want those children and those kids out of the public schools to go through the experience that I went through. I want that experience to be different, to be much, much better than my experience. So, so that the timing was just beautiful. And so a lot of us that went to education at that time, you know, went in there with a strong, what is referred to as a missionary zeal, a passion, you know, to change the system, to fix the system, to make things better for all kids in our schools. And so that, you know, that is really what drove me to go into to education. And I you know, feel that over the years, you know, that I've been able to make a difference, you know, to create a system, at least I've done my part, a system that is much more responsive and much more directly related to the cultural differences that we have across the country, as represented by the variety and diversity of children that we have in our public schools. Okay, Robbie, now you tell me again, what is one of the most important considerations when you're thinking about what am I going to do in life?
Having a sense of purpose.